Hey everybody, Bob from Cartinas Club, testing this sucker out. There we go. Looking around the layout here. See if I can pull the chat up. This is the first time we've done this. Okay, come on. Live chat. All messages are visible. You guys are out there. If anybody turns on, we have until this battery dies, and so we're running around the layout here. This is our Oakland scene. You guys have seen this on videos over the years. And Joe Abel has his Southern Pacific Daylight parked in the yard. A couple of our fine members working the lower layout in our staging room. Don't get a lot of video of this because it doesn't video very well, but you can see all the trains that were set up for the open house today. And somebody's moving their power onto the main layout here. This train was featured in one of our scenery videos. Owner Randy is setting up some kind of train. You getting ready to pull out? You got cars somewhere?
I am. I have them on track 6.
Track.
So we're going to pull out and then align these engines, the power to track 6, and we're back in and couple up to the cars.
Okay.
And pull out.
Sounds good.
Okay.
So we'll see the layout in a few minutes. Let's go see what else is going on around here. We have our club secretary or former secretary. You still the secretary? No, you're the treasurer.
What's that?
You're treasurer.
I'm treasurer.
Yeah. Setting up a train here. 4 modern EMD units with a CNW Heritage. We're live on Facebook, by the way, so if you're wondering what I'm doing here. And here's our Pillsbury. All right, let's go around to the second peninsula. See if anything's going on here. So this is what the layout looks like. We're multi-deck layout. Got one piece of our main deck just not sceneried at all, but we do have the I think I had a BN in a recent video down on our Antioch section, and this right here is obviously not much going on. This is a second peninsula, and this is our Crockett Port Costa Valona Foods. This right here is where the club is located. As a matter of fact, right here in the aisle, this right here is Loring Avenue, and our layout would be right here on this side of the street, across the street from these houses. There's actually houses down the street, not this many, but just as few, but this parking lot is here, and so our club would be right around in this area. And let's walk around. If you guys want to see something, and post in the comments. I'm still working the bugs out on this thing, so I don't know how the comments are going to appear on the screen. And being a Luddite, I'm working off a BlackBerry. So this is our third aisle. This is where the big bridge scene is, and this right here is Martinez. And this is the Makoko line, on the line that goes to Tracy. And then we've got our CalP line that goes all the way to Sacramento. Again, you guys have seen thousands of videos on this. All right, let's. This is our third deck, and we do have a multi-gauge narrow line, and right now it's for the most part idle. We've redone the mountain over here. You don't see a lot of videos of this because we don't have a lot of operators on the layout, but I'll walk you through it. This is going to be a big lumber yard. It's going to be the main highlight of the branch line. And you can see the multi-gauge track. All this is hand-laid. We had hand-laid switches for a while, but they didn't work very well, so we replaced them with Shinohara, and everything seems to be working. So right out the front of the building, you can see the blue towers that are out across from C&H on a lovely overcast day in Contra Costa County. So there's a Sparks yard. On the distance, you can see the Helix, but they're probably too small. Nothing going on here. Let's go check out the rest of the layout. Oh, okay. Here is our full mountain scenery from beginning to end. Get a whole glimpse of the mountain scenery. Excuse me. Let's come over here to our second aisle. This is our Sacramento aisle. And you get a nice panoramic of the mountain scene and the backdrop of Sacramento. And our train room. You going around or you parking? Steve, Facebook Live, are you going around or you're parking?
Going around.
Okay.
Going around to Davis.
Okay. When we catch your train and come around, you can tell our viewers what's going on with your train here.
Sure.
Let's got a lot of visitor traffic over on that end. Yesterday we had a lot of trains running. We had traffic all over the place, and it looks like we've got a similar situation now with one train stopped in Colfax and another one on the Gold Run line, working around the loop at the other end of the layout. So, well, yeah, that was
That's system-wide.
system-wide. Well, so somebody has to. Who knows how to reboot the system? Yeah. 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 So, as long as we're stopped, here's our member Greg Church. I'm on Facebook Live right now. So, looking at your train, you want to tell the audience what we're looking at here with all the stuff you told me about your train yesterday and get it all documented?
Well, okay, this is the Greggsburg Terminal Railroad, which don't Google it. It doesn't exist. It's in my daughter's old bedroom. I just came up with a logo and attached a name to it, and
So on your daughter's and the layout in your daughter's room, what are you modeling? Where's the location?
Greggsburg.
So where is Fantasy Greggsburg? Is
It's in
Fantasy-
my daughter's old bedroom. It doesn't exist. That's the whole point, was to get a name that doesn't.
correspond anything?
Right, so it can be anywhere.
So what do you have on that layout?
A lot of track that needs to be continued and finished.
Oh, there you go. So it's early in the process.
Well, I started it, and then the Surface Transportation Board, my wife, said I could expand, and so I expanded, and I haven't done the new stuff all yet. I got
there
the
you
board
go.
down, but I don't have any track
So
left.
how big is the train room?
Well, let's see, it's 9 by 7, and then in between it's a U shape. So one side's 9, the other side's 9, and the other side's 7.
Got it.
Got a door. I
Fantastic.
gotta get in and out of the door.
Wonderful. Right. So you have some concrete cars here. I take it that's what these are?
Yeah, or sand or
Sand.
salt,
Yeah. Okay.
whatever you want.
There you go. And so why'd you select to do a score of?
Well, I was going to put in a cement terminal
Ah,
or
got it.
cement plant.
Got it.
Then I
Someday.
joined the club, and that kind of changed things.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. And you had a couple other box cars that were done similar. Here you go, Greggsburg. Yeah.
The one next to it,
Yeah.
and then the cabooses.
And these were EJ&E cars by
No,
Atlas.
not these. These were those are Athern, City of Prineville.
City of Pinevilles.
Yeah,
Okay.
I just
And
all
then
kinds
then
of
what were these?
those are AccuRail that comes with just the data.
Okay.
And I had to put new trucks on them because they don't come with steel wheels.
Oh, okay.
So those trucks are actually came from this car and that car because I put roller bearing trucks on these two.
Oh, I see.
And then the old trucks.
Got it. And then you got two nice cabooses.
Yeah, those are Atlas. Those were the model railroader.
Ah,
I got them online because I don't think they're selling well. So, and I always want a red caboose. So.
oh, there you go. There you go.
Don't
Fantastic.
And 95, that's 96 and 94. 95's at home. The weather didn't hold out warm enough, long enough for me to do 95. That'll get done next spring.
Wonderful. All right. Well, we'll look forward to seeing that. Thanks for taking us through your train, Greg. So this is our Sparks yard. Looks like power back up on the layout. Once we get trains moving, I'll go and start chasing trains around the layout here. Got our Christmas train. Got someone's Canadian National. This is probably Marty's if I had to guess. He's a big Canadian modeler. I don't think I've ever done the icing station on detail. This was one of them probably about 3 years old. It was built by our scenery director, Don. And this is a fantastic layout. He's an expert model builder, wonderful detailer. Did a real nice job. You can see the ice cubes out on the track in a nicely weathered scene. And are we moving again? Yeah, trains are moving. So let's go chase some trains.
Must be downstairs.
There's a canyon scene.
I didn't get something else.
Got a little Facebook live stream going on here. That's a beauty.
Ignore on me. Oh, okay. Did you all that? Yeah, I didn't want to let you go around me. Gotta go look for my plow.
Get the light out of there. Hey! Hello, Diamond Master 2.0. Thanks for joining me out on the show here. Got Gregsburg coming around our mountain lake.
Yeah. I've lost the plow and I'm watching television.
Oh no!
It came off somewhere.
It's not sure if anything out.
It's probably. That's what I'm thinking. But whatever. It wouldn't be plow and they didn't want to do it.
Hey, thanks. Let's go and chase over to the Neverland train. All right, Steve, now that you're back on the mains, why don't you tell the audience here what you've got going on with your Neverland train?
Neverland Excursion. This is my Neverland Excursions train. It's my fantasy excursion train. And it's called Neverland Excursions for two reasons. Number one, it's composed of women that would have never run together in real life. And number two, technically it's my wife's train and she never operates it. Today I'm pulling it with my 8,500 horsepower gas turbine, which is the largest and most powerful prime mover ever made. It's 8,500 horsepower. It's a gas turbine electric. It's actually a jet engine on rails.
This is absolutely beautiful train. You notice that all the cars are lit, and this must have taken you a boatload of time and tedious effort. Everything went back together, especially the dome cars. They came apart and went back together, and you've also got passengers in those cars.
Yeah, I don't have passengers in all of them yet, but I'm going to.
Fantastic. Yeah, looking real good. Let's go take a look at that detail. Now, what this is a
Scale Trains gas turbine electric. It's they were known colloquially as the big blows because they were big and they made a lot of noise. That 8,500 horsepower gas turbine, which is in the B unit, threw out a whole lot of noise. They were very loud, very deafening. Because of the amount of noise, they kept mainly to the plains of Wyoming and Utah. They were built in the late 50s, early 60s. They were retired in the late 60s, early 70s. You can see it. I've got the passenger cars, the baggage cars set up for excursion use, so that they've actually got passengers in there, as it would be for an excursion train, so that people can take their photographs.
Yeah. Did you see the pictures of the president's funeral train? The way Union Pacific put a glass door, and you can see the president's body through the pane on that.
Actually, the casket.
Casket. That's what it is. Yeah. That was kind of that was really moving when I first saw it. I was actually surprised by it because I saw a train. That somebody put a video up on YouTube about that, and just all of a sudden it was like, wow, that was really something. So I got to commend UP for taking taking the investment and making that happen. So that was really nice. So we've got our Canadian train struggling through. Did you short out?
Yeah, he shorted out there somewhere.
Yeah. Okay. Where's the power?
Someone just
Is it the tail end of the second end?
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Steve. Appreciate you giving us a walking tour of your nice train.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Yeah, you're shorted out. Hang on. Oh yeah, your train's short. There you go. Let me know when you're ready. It's right here. Yeah. Here's Mark's train while the owner, not sure why he stopped here, but let's take a look at his finely weathered Consist. He's put a lot of money into this one. Just enough weathering on some of these cars. There we go. Got a cab forward here coming through the mountains.
What's the speed through the crossover?
Now this train will go back around over on the Spark side where it'll do the peekaboo, and it will come out here. Oh, come on. How old are these layouts? They must have. We are in our 7th year?
Something like that. About
Yeah,
that.
7th year. So
Maybe a
most.
little bit longer than that, actually.
Oh, I've been here for 5, and it was at least 2 before me.
You know, running like the big
Most of this was built in the last 3 years, probably, but that's because of the lift on these mountains. Figuring out what was going to be built, and yeah, you're right. It might be more like 10 years now.
Yeah, it was actually. I think construction was actually started in 2004.
Yeah. And they got when I joined the club 5-6 years ago at this point, they had just completed all the track work. You could run you can train from all the way from Oakland to Sparks and back again. And then the upper scenery here, almost all of this is within the time that I've been here.
Yeah.
When I came here,
The mountains are in the last 5 years. Most of the work was completed in the last 3.
right, yeah, okay. Down on the lower level, we'll go walk back down there. We've got this Canadian train going down the Helix right now. This is our Helix. And this is where we watch the trains as they come down through from the upper level at Davis down to Fairfield on the lower level. And this just is an engineering marvel. You know, I don't do extended videos of this because it's not particularly interesting, but on a Facebook Live we can stop and appreciate all the engineering that went into this. This was all built before I came in by a former member, passed away about 4 years ago. One of the founding members named Ernie. Ernie was a real interesting fellow. Born during the middle of the Depression, was kind of a jack of all trades, and he did every sort of job from gold panning to obviously this engineering design. Some of these are his drawings right here for the Helix. And I was around when he was around. He was saying he had no problems drawing these things up, but he had a hell of a time trying to figure out the electrical on it. He was a pipe fitter for a while, and he built this. And this was also just being completed as I came to the layout 5 years ago. The Martinez scene was in. Makoko was done. This is Makoko right here. Makoko, these industries were all done about 3 years ago. This was Rich Sauvé's project. James, I forget his last name. This is James. This was Joe Corbelli's. He also was one of the founding members. And obviously in a recent video, this building was built by Larry Staples, and this took him about 5 years to do. This came in and within the first year that I was here, and I helped install this. And we had to bring it in. We had to rent a lift in order to get that bridge in. This branch line wasn't here at the time. This window was completely unobstructed. So we had to get a lift, bring it in through this window, down this hall, and set the building in place. And as one single structure, this was on a piece of MDF. And we set it in place, and then the track guys did the track alignment and make sure that the whole thing runs smoothly, and the rest is history, so to speak. Remember to keep the trains in view. We'll follow this train through the lower level, and I'll give you a play-by-play. This scenery was all done by I can't remember the name of the guy, TC, and that was done about 3 years ago. This is the Shell transloading. This is actually in prototype on the Makoko line right across from on the other side of the hill, but it's been modeled on this side for operations. And this is Howard. I built most of this with the help of 3 other members, Chaz Green, can't remember the names of the other 2 guys off the top of my head because they're no longer members of the club, but Ron is his first name, and obviously we just finished that up in my scenery update. This right here is a representation of the Port Costa terminal. Got a little traffic over here, so we'll just kind of wait for the train on this end. This whole scene was completed first by Ron Costa, and he was a founding member, and this was all completed before I became a member. Some of the scenic details are still being worked on, but it's for the most part complete. Kind of boxed in here, so I'm gonna. But we have another train coming on eastbound, and I'll just stand here and wait for it while visitor traffic clears. This right over here is in Nantucket. This went in about 2 years ago. That's actually, you can see that on Google Maps, and almost the exact location right across. This is Highway 80, crossing the Cardenas Strait. And if you go to Google Maps and take a look at Highway 80 where it meets the Cardenas Strait, you will see the Nantucket. So here is the Ed Walden's heritage unit with the Aces in tow, and he's got a full-blown, looks like a grain train. These are not typically a common sight on the CalP, but if you go to Sacramento and watch the trains coming out of Roseville through Sacramento, this is a common sight headed down the Central Valley toward Fresno, and we got another yard over there in Stockton. Stockton has a big marine interchange, intermodal yard, and I'm not that familiar with West Coast operations. I'm a Midwest modeler. Almost all my stuff came and went out of the Midwest, so some of the details of my West Coast railroading are lacking, but keeps me interested in the hobby. All right, so let's move around. This right here is Selby, and prototype. It's no longer there, but it is modeled here because this the smokestack was a landmark on the CalP for pretty much the life of the SP. This was the actual smokestack, if it were in tight height, would go about 5 feet up above that track. I mean, the thing was massive. Because it was a smelting site, the EPA learned that toxins were leaching into the bay, and they were ultimately shut down in a lawsuit. The cost of cleanup was prohibitive. It's now just a vacant site. and remediation and sandwiched between two refineries in the Richmond area, Phillips, Conoco, and Chevron. And I guess that's all I know about that. These towers are there in Hercules in prototype, and as is, I think this is tunnel. Does anybody know what tunnel this is in prototype? Is it tunnel 3? They daylighted when they...
I do not know.
Yeah, it's tunnel. It's a low number tunnel on the CalP. Yeah. All right. What else do we got? See how much power I've got left on this phone. Yep. So I can probably do this for another half an hour, 45 minutes or so. So we'll run the hour out. As long as I got trains, we've got something going on down at the... Oh, that's the CN train at the end of the Helix. Did we get another burp?
Give it a second, guys. Should come back up in a second.
Yeah, yesterday we ran all day without a problem and turned Facebook on, and the system burps twice. I wonder if there's a relationship. Did this thing do this any morning, Marty?
Did it twice today. This is the second time today.
Yeah, but did it do it this morning?
Not that I'm aware of.
Well, see, I'm running the feed through the wireless. I'm running Facebook through the wireless, and it happened while I was running Facebook.
Wi-Fi is down. Wi-Fi is down because they've lost throttle control.
No, it
CO
can't be.
layout or HO
It's a train.
HO trains. Okay, but that doesn't affect our wireless here.
You got to turn that off.
Okay. All right. Okay. Well. All right. Well, let's get back out of traffic. I'm gonna follow this train over until it gets to the Helix, and I'll go back over to Oakland real quick, and I'll walk you through timeline of Oakland.
I want to go get. It's going across the bridge. Going across the bridge. Oh, that's a cool bridge. Oh my God, that's cool.
Watch out.
It's
Okay.
I know, don't touch. Keep going, babe.
Another one is coming. I think I can slide.
It's too hard for me. Yeah.
And we got the Gregsburg train coming back. All right, let's walk over to Oakland, and I'll give you a little brief timeline of the construction on the layout. Okay, so over here in Hillsbury, this was a recent addition of probably about 2 years. It's been in several videos up to this point. What we call our planning director is proposing this be Hercules Powder Company, and that is yet to be determined. UPS depot, brand new scenery for 2018. History of our intermodal yard was just completed about 5 years ago at the time that I came into the club. The backdrops were partly mine, which put dates at about 5 years. The new track right here, the auto racks and the cars were part of our 2018 scenery. This yard was built before I came, but the scenery edition, this was Albers Milling. This was near the SP Mole, the passenger ferry terminal that is now the OIG Intermodal Yard and dock facility with the Port of Oakland. Was right on the water, and this was done about 3 years ago by Ron Costa and Greg Okander. And the backdrops are mine. We acquired a bunch of scenery from a friend of the former President Chaz Green, and there wasn't much effort on my part because I just made them look appropriate for the location. This commissary building was built by Rich Sauvé about 4 years ago. We ended up using it here. He built that building as well, and I have no idea. I think the plan was to use both buildings in the same location, but didn't end up ultimately being approved. National Newsprint and Sherwin-Williams here were both my projects, and they also were done about 4 years ago. These backdrops were a combination of members. This right here was Ron Coutuars. That's the guy who helped me in Port Costa. This was his project, and that's about 5 years old. Berkeley Warehouses was Rich Sauvé's. This was done about 4 years ago. Berkeley Concrete Ready Mix. This project was about 2.5, 3 years old. This whole project was a mishmash of about a dozen members here that have put this together. The whole station, the platforms, the building, the backdrops, all done by different members. And it's just kind of sort of evolved as a group project. And so the timeline varied from before I got here till now. We got our CP trade coming through the Oakland yard. Dornbecker's Furniture is a legacy building brought over from the former layout location in Vallejo and modernized for this layout with that building and that building, which were part of our the layout we inherited that I discussed over on the other side, as well as that building right there. The REA Express building predates me. It was built by a member, his name eludes me, former member, no longer a member of the club. And this was like 4 kits of the commissary building that we have at Berkeley and against the wall over there behind Albers. Now, this Pacific Coast Growers Produce was one of my lose my mind projects. I'm going to show you the detail on the inside of this building that nobody can see unless you're right up against it. Have a complete interior structure. I can't get it to focus on the inside of that sucker. Alright, let me rotate device. Rotate. Alright, won't rotate. So, sorry you have to look at that crooked, because it won't let me rotate the device. Hey, thanks, Diamond Master. Appreciate you stopping by for the visit. This right here is Jack London Square. From probably about there. This is these type of industries are in Jack London Square. This tower is in Jack London Square. This wall, this is an oil tank for the. There's a PG&E power generation plant that is loosely modeled here. And so they got an oil tank over there that feeds the power generations, which aren't modeled. But this is all in Jack London Square. And Oakland Bag. This area down here goes down. This is the Fruitvale District. And this right here actually is when I mentioned the Desert Yard. And this right here would be where the Desert Yard is along Highway 880 in Oakland. south of Jack London Square. We it was later converted to a diesel servicing facility, which would represents the Western Pacific, all the railroads in California, Western Pacific, Southern Pacific, and I'm missing one. Santa Fe all had track work, track rights to industries in the Fruitvale district, and this sort of hall represents that area. And the backdrops are the very tail end of the Fruitvale district. Those I did several years ago from a bridge that kind of demarcates the very end of our scenery project. And that's the main line headed down south to San Jose. So that is a detailed history of our layout. And let's go back up and catch the trains up in the mountains again. Looks like our heritage units are back on their way back to Oakland on the Napa Loop. This right here, that right there is the wine distribution warehouse, and the scenery behind it, I'll go upstairs. But this right here is a reverse loop for operators that don't want to turn the whole layout on. They can just run the main line of the layout, the first level, and this is our Napa Loop. Right here is the interchange where the Southern Pacific met the Northwest Pacific in Fairfield. Fairly geographically correct relative to the Budweiser. And these legacy structures you can see on Google Maps at, I think that's Cordelia Avenue, I think. This bridge jumps about 20 miles to Napa. And this Napa Loop is actually Napa, the Napa Wine Train Depot. And that building back there represents the new Napa downtown. This mill is actually a mill that is in Napa downtown, but it's not the correct building for it. The mill that's down there is a very small structure, probably dates back to the turn of the century. Very small mill, and the building has been reconverted to restaurants and a boutique winery, whereas on our layout it's a full-blown modern structure. This right here represents Highway 29 and another jump to the Napa Pipe and the Napa Reverse Loop. It's all right. Takes us back to our Napa Wine Distribution, which is approximately correct. This is right beyond the Vallejo border, and then this double backs around to function. This right here will be Cordelia, and for Californians, if you've ever been to Thompson's Corners, there's a really nice, I don't know if the word nice is, but a biker bar called Thompson's, right there in Thompson's Corners. Everybody knows it. It's a very colorful place. I recommend that you join it if you're looking for an alternative to the high society in Napa. But it's pretty cool, you know, it's good there on the weekends and good party, and see all the exotic bikes, both the customs and the older, well-worn equipment out there. Doesn't like we have much going on. All right. Since we're kind of dry on content, I am going to cut this video short. If there's anything you guys want to ask real quick in the next 10 or 15 minutes, I will happily walk the layout. Now let's take a look at this real quick, I suppose. This right here is it's going to be the Reno North line that runs from Reno to Carson City. So you have the interchange with Sparks and Reno back there, and then the interchange will come, connect to the branch line, and what in prototype would be probably the Virginia and Truckee, if you've ever been to Gold Country and done the old tour north of Reno, I recommend that you go and do it. And this sort of is going to, I wouldn't say copy it, but it's going to emulate it. It's going to be something close to it. So industries, somebody wants to put a gas, printing company, pipe, possibly. graphics, transportation intermodal, maybe. A food processor, General Motors, and what does that say over there? Solid waste reduction site. So how our current planning thinking is that we're going to take any industry that's on the layout and then backdate it to the era for the layout, which is basically the Southern Pacific era, and which ends at about in the early 90s, but goes all the way back to the 1950s. Ideally, we're looking for we're going to try to make the industries consistent to the 70s, how all this stuff would look. So trains would and equipment would all kind of look like it did when America was still a manufacturing country, and not all this unit train stuff. But you could still run the newer and the older stuff on the layout, and it would look appropriate. And I guess that's that. We don't have any trains up here on the upper level. Yesterday, this place was a madhouse, and today it's all on the lower level. So, all right, guys, I appreciate you taking some time out for me here. I will check this video feed out, see what we can do better. Feel free, if you're view this on YouTube, give me some comments as to what you'd like to see, how I can do this better, because I just on a whim decided to do this at the recommendation of somebody who came through. I didn't go through down this aisle. Let's go down through this aisle. All right. At the end of this aisle, this is the McClellan Park area. We did not model the Roseville yard, but we did. This is to represent the Sacramento yard, which is no longer there. It was all pulled up and granted to the land was granted to the city of Sacramento for redevelopment, and so all these industries, all this track, it is no longer there, with the exception of the Sacramento Passenger Station, which is now a transportation hub. This industry, the concrete, is actually a Victorville industry that we've relocated to the Rockland area. And again, we've kind of blown up the industry from what the prototype would have been much, much smaller than this. This is the paper plant here is pure imagination. There's nothing like this in the Sacramento area. It's a water-intensive industry. Most of the stuff was up in the northeast or northwest, and Southern Pacific did serve it, which was the thinking of the planning committee at the time that they approved this and put it on the layout here. And then this right here is McClellan Air Force Base, which is now also no longer an Air Force Base, but just an airport with heavy industry coming into the place. It's right on the main line, right outside of the Roseville yard, and so there's been some serious scale compression, kind of combining the Sacramento yard, which was technically right there, and the McClellan tracks, which would technically be right there, and all the scenery is going in. And you can get detailed information on this element right here on the scenery 2018 scenery update, as I'm working on that, and it was handled in great detail there. And this is our Sacramento, built by Steve Lowens, and I mentioned that we'd inherited a bunch of buildings from a friend of a member, and a lot of those industries are here, but there have been some that have been peppered, some custom, this kit I know that was added, and as is that one. That's Steve Lowen's work, as he was one of the electrical guys and put in all the electrical scenery. And then again, we're transitioning out to West Sacramento, and here's some screenshots from the video that I have regarding the planning updates that you can take a look on YouTube and explore. I'm working on the scenery right now. I'm working on that building currently, as well as trying to get that building squared away. And I put the scenery in just so that it would start to look like something. And our scenery director is currently working on his industry. He's waiting for the tracks to be put in, which you can see are mocked up right there. We got the CP train. Meet the CP train in the exact location. We'll let this one run by real quick. And this also is a expanded version of prototype of the grain elevators that are in the yellow area between Sacramento and Davis, California. Really nice work, really nicely completed, good composition. Have a little beat transfer. Then our Costco warehouse with the tomato farms, and Davis, and all these industries are semi-prototypical. This is very close to prototype, as a matter of fact. The Davis station, REA building. All this is scenic to 1950, and then the right across the mains, like prototype, is a trailer park, and then. We have a really nice representation. This really captures the feel of what Davis looks like. Really nicely done. And the school and the nursery are both proto-freelance. They exist inside Davis, but not in these locations. And that's that. All right, we'll go head back down in the last 10 minutes or so. See what else is going on around here, and then we'll wind up the excuse me. Hello.
We're good.
Here's our grain train with the aces on point in the heritage unit. Hey, thanks, Randy. Appreciate you giving me the props over here. Here's our Tracy yard, also storage track. Hey, whose George Bush is this? Does anybody know whose UP train this is? Really?
Oh, and you know who that is. Yeah, favorite. Oh, there's a UPS freight. Remember how we're always seeing them? Sorry.
Well, I was only here till 1 o'clock, and somebody, after I left, was running a George Bush heritage unit. So all I can do is show you here in the storage yard. Don't ask me what brand it is. I just don't know. Probably MTH. Looking at the level of detail, probably. But well, sad to have missed that one running yesterday afternoon. They're not going to catch a video.
Yeah, you can. If I cut the power, this is not gonna work. No, you can power on, power up, and
You guys,
dead issues.
Where it's
excuse
just
me.
everything.
It's funny. This layout ran perfect. Yeah.
This right here is our, I guess this would be the West Helix? South Helix. South Helix. And this is our, get you from our transfer yard to the main layout. Randy likes to run his trains slow, and that's his thing, which is cool. Not very convenient for filming, though. This train, or parts of it, were featured in a video I called Great Weathered Consist 2. And all right, I'm gonna keep the timeline going until he gets his train out on the main layout, because I want to get this train on video. So what do we do? Go take a look at the grain train cutting through the Oakland yard.
Oakland, West
All right, no, it's,
I can't believe I did that.
well, there's 100 members. There's 100 members that would agree with you there, so you don't got to worry about it. Yeah.
Okay, doesn't look like anything's going on up there.
There'll be a time in the plannable future where I won't be able to do that, so I try to catch all the reverse angles as often as I possibly can. While we're waiting for Randy's weather consist, let's go. Who's the board on the train board? 4141. 4141. Tom Gillis's train. Yeah. Yeah, I didn't even see him yesterday.
I haven't seen him either day.
What time did you leave yesterday?
He wasn't here. He didn't come.
Oh, really? So somebody else was running his train then.
Somebody else is running it?
Yeah, because somebody said that they were running George Bush, 4141, and if he wasn't here, somebody else was running his train. Could have been.
Is
Could
it
have
on
been.
the layout somewhere?
Yeah, somebody said that he was running yesterday after I left.
He wasn't here. I was here all day.
It was probably
He was here Friday.
what's the building superintendent? What's his name?
Lopez?
Yeah, Robert. It's probably Robert. He was
It
probably.
might have
running
been because Tom wasn't here.
it. Yeah. Okay. All right. You coming up there, Randy?
Yeah, yeah.
At the rate you run your trains, I believe that in the last hour, which is how long I've been running the Facebook, I believe you've been moving the whole time.
No, I haven't. I've been stopped.
All right. So this is Randy's great weather. Oh my gosh! Now we've got the grain train coming around.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, grain train's got to loop back onto the main line. So
I had it on reverse loop and you switched it.
yeah, well,
Somebody did.
yeah, he did.
No, I had to switch it, or else I would have derailed.
We almost had a little problem
okay.
here. But I caught it.
Now you told me last time, even though I put it, this consist is a '70s consist. This is an '80s consist.
It is.
In all your
1988, 89.
1988, 89.
Yes.
Even though as a Santa Fe modeler, I still think it looks like a 1970s consist. But you kind of, yeah, it's on YouTube. We're on YouTube right now.
Yeah. So that shows that we're all getting younger. Huh?
You got that at flying speed, right?
Huh?
You got that at flying speed.
Oh, yeah.
Actually, it doesn't. Go
This is
like
Randy's
that.
speed. This is full speed for Randy's train. Everybody else is around the
I'm gonna
layout.
have lunch.
So what I'm going to do when I get over here, I'll pull into a siding.
What's that?
I'll pull into a siding.
Just go have fun.
That's all right. He can cross over from 1 to 2. Nobody else is on the layout.
Yeah. As soon as
I
I
think we're the only two in there.
On the lower layout right now. Yeah.
as soon as I get past this crossover, you can go past it.
You know, I tried to turn the phone, Randy. I tried to turn the phone sideways, and I hit rotate device, and it won't rotate. It brings me up an action menu. So what I'd have to do is I'd have to boost out and restart the stream, which I'm not going to do at this point. But when at our next open house, which will at the very latest, it'll be May. I'll probably reset the phone to right out of the gate as landscape, and film the whole thing in landscape. But for now, it's I'm just going to run the clock out. We've been doing this for about an hour, and so one, I'm losing my voice, and two, I run out of battery. So. But I'll definitely take your comments to heart, and next time we'll do it on portrait. Or landscape, sorry. It's one of the things about being a Luddite and working on a BlackBerry. You know, the whole world doesn't work at its highest level. Now, this is being filmed on a BlackBerry Key 1, and BlackBerry's already updated this phone. It was only out for a year, and they have the Key 2 out, and I'm quite happy with the Key 1. So, if the Key 2 is better, fantastic. More power to them. I'll look into that when this one dies.
Gets his hands full, huh?
Randy has no control. Nobody's on there but you.
Yeah, I think someone else has my throttle number, and
and I have no control of my train right now.
I'll probably also better promote this. This was just kind of a wing-ding thing at the last minute. I was actually trying to use my action cam, my Sony action cam. That's what's got this thing started. Last night I set it up and got the action cam working, but I can't, on my BlackBerry, connect the action cam to the phone. So what I was going to take the action cam and throw it in a gondola and run it over the layout and then stream that, as opposed to doing this. This was kind of like the default action. So between now and then, I'll probably bring a laptop down here and set up the GoPro to connect to the laptop to see if I can't stream a cab ride on that, and then concurrently run this live stream this way. And well, I guess wishing myself good luck with that, but that's the plan at this point. So, all right, so we got Never Was. Everybody who's been with me this whole hour, I really appreciate you taking the time and joining our open house. If you're able to make it in May, watch Facebook watch YouTube for updates on our calendar timeline once we get past the new year and our new board sets up the open house dates. I will notify you guys as to what I'll be doing as far as the live stream goes. I don't know if we're going to have an open house between January and May, but for sure May. And you can put that on your calendars right now. We usually have oddly, it always seems to fall on Mother's Day, which used to be the National Train Day weekend, which is no surprise why that went the way of the dodo. They should have picked a different weekend for a National Train Day. It would have been a bigger success because everybody's out doing Mother's Day things, but nonetheless, it'll be the second week of May. Thanks again, guys. I appreciate you sharing. We look forward to seeing you out there on the YouTube. The next video on this series, the very first two videos, will be a cab ride. I started editing. I downloaded the video, started editing it last night after I got home from work. And the cab ride video from Budweiser, Fairfield to Oakland will be up in sometime in the next 7 days. And then Davis to Sparks will follow along in about 5 days after that. So in the meantime, have a great weekend. We'll look forward to seeing you out there. And thanks for sharing our layout with us, and appreciate all the nice comments. Have a great night. Make sure you like, subscribe, tell a friend, and we'll see you on the next live stream. This is Bob from Cartina's Club in Crockett, California. We'll see you on the next one.